Hey guys, my name is Caleb. I've been a substitute teacher in a lot of different schools. I've worked with a lot of kids. And one of the main problems that I see is that you guys just don't know how to speak up. And that's what we're talking about today. I'll be with you guys the next couple weeks talking about this series of Say More. But today we're talking about speaking up. For some reason, problems come in your life. You don't know how to talk about them. Maybe something's bugging you. You don't know how to say something. Today we're going to talk about that. But first, I want to ask you guys a question. Have you guys ever been speechless before? Yeah, speechless. Yeah? No. Someone who's like, no. Yeah. So there's a lot of things in this world to be speechless about. I think about the Grand Canyon. Sometimes when I'm speechless, who's been to the Grand Canyon before? If you haven't gone, come on. It's like 4 or 5 hour drive. Tell your parents to go. You live in Arizona. No excuses. The Grand Canyon, you just look out. It looks like a painting. It's like not even real. You're like, whoa. You're speechless. You don't say anything. Another time that I've been speechless before is when my daughter was born. So when babies are born, you're just kind of speechless. This is an actual picture of her like 5 seconds after she was born. She's like 19 months right now. But, doctors and those pictures that you see of babies that are born, they're like really gross looking, but not her. She was just like perfect looking. You can ask Mrs. Wolfer. She knows. She was there. Yeah. Ask her later. Sometimes when you finish a good book or you finish a series on Netflix, you sit there, you're just kind of speechless like, whoa. You either say, I've just wasted 10 hours of my life, or you say, that was really good. So I think we understand this idea of the good kind of speechless, but I want to say that there's actually a bad kind of speechless. There is a bad kind of speechless. How about when somebody's being bullied? You see it, you say nothing. What about when your teacher asks a question in class? You know the answer, but you try to be too cool and you don't raise your hand. Now, as a teacher, I'm sure that's probably one of the most frustrating things you guys face. And so one of the best things you could do in your classroom to participate is simply raising your hand and saying what you know. What about your friend? Maybe your friends are getting into some things they shouldn't get into. There's some questionable things, and yet you say nothing. Sometimes, guys, the words that we don't say will haunt us the most. The words that we need to say are sometimes the hardest ones to say. Am I right? Have you guys ever been in that situation? You're like, I should say something, but then you don't. And I guarantee, just looking back in my junior high time and high school time, it's the stuff that I didn't say that bothers me the most to this day. So we're going to talk about 2 things just really briefly before you guys head back out. We're going to talk about the dangers of silence, and we're going to talk about the power of your own voice. So the dangers of silence, the idea of being speechless, and all those examples that I shared earlier, that can change you into a person that you do not want to be. Because when we are silent, we're basically letting the world run our lives. We're being passive. We're just going with the flow. And that's going to change you into something that you don't want to be. You want to be proactive. You want to be courageous. And I don't think we completely understand what this word courageous means. There's a cool quote by a person named Ambrose Redmoon. It says this: courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something else is more important. Have you guys ever thought about that? It's not being afraid, but it's about being afraid, but standing up and doing something anyway. So when it comes to speaking up, that's really, really important for us to remember. Now let's talk about the power of your voice. We all have a voice. And I don't mean just like the sounds that I'm making right now with my mouth. Your voice is who you are. It's really the verbal expression of what's in your heart, what's in your mind. That is your voice. You can ask your English teacher. What they want most from you in your writing is to hear your voice, to hear what you have to say and how you say it. But think about the power of a voice. Not only is it the most important thing about you, but I would say that a voice is actually the most powerful thing in existence. Think about a voice. A voice can start a war. A voice can say, I love you. A voice can ruin somebody's day or brighten up somebody's day. Maybe your day's already been ruined by somebody because of what they said. You can look back in your life and think of lots of things that people have said to you that changed you into the person that you are today. So there is power in your voice. So in the end, I wanted to equip you guys, give you guys something that you can use when you leave this place. Let's think about the acrostic for speak. S-P-E-A-K. Speak. This is a word we say all the time. This is something that we do every single day. But there's 5 letters in here, and there's 5 things you guys need to know in order to speak well. Number 1, be sincere. S stands for sincere. That means really saying or really meaning what you say. So saying things that you really mean. P stands for personal. Let your words be the words that you say. Don't let other people speak for you. Don't just take what other people say and turn it into your words. Speak for yourself. So sincere, personal. E, it's a big word, but yet it's small. Ethics. Ethics is just a fancy word for knowing what's good, knowing what's right to do. So you speak with morals. You speak with integrity. Integrity means doing the right thing when nobody is watching. Who are you when it comes down to it? Integrity, ethics. A, authentic. People need to look at you and see that the things that you said a year ago and the things that you're saying now match up with who you are. That they know that you're just an authentic, genuine person. And then lastly, K stands for kindness. And this is another word I don't think we completely understand. Kindness is not just being nice. I think that's, something that we think. That kindness is just, hey, I'm just going to be nice. I'm going to help an old lady across the street or whatever. I've never, ever done that before, and I've never seen an old lady that needed to be helped across the street. But that's just something we think of when we think of the word kindness. But kindness is something way more. There's a really smart guy named Jonathan Edwards. He lived in the 1700s, and he said this. He said that kindness is actually proactively seeking good for others. So it's not about just reacting to a situation, but you are actively thinking in your mind, how can I help a person today? How can I do good for another person today? So, sincere, personal, ethics, authentic, and kindness. Speak. I challenge you guys to speak. Your generation can change this world. I wholeheartedly believe that. My generation and some of the generations before me, like Generation X, and I would consider myself a millennial, we tried. We did not do that good of a job. Millennials, we invented Facebook with the idea, hey, if we bring everybody together, that'll solve all of our problems. Facebook kind of created a whole lot more problems. So your guys' generation, Generation Z, if you don't know anything about Generation Z, look it up on Wikipedia. Trust me, it's a real thing. You guys are going to be way better than I ever was and anybody before me ever was. You guys can change the world. Think about speeches that have changed the world. Think about Martin Luther King. One of the most famous speeches is, I have a dream. What did he have that you don't have? I mean, yeah, he had more experience. He had more things going on in his life that drove him passionately to share. But all he really started with was a voice. And that's what you guys have. So don't neglect your voice. Don't be speechless in a world that needs to hear from you. Peace out.